And I recall during the zoning, Mrs. Koda came to visit us at College Las Bañas. Zoning is a system of Japanese soldiers, different from the soldiers stationed in the area, who are known as Bamboo Army, who set a day wherein all the men are kept in a concentration without food and water. And I recall during the zoning, they timed it at the birthday of President Manuel L. Quezon. That was August 19, and we were told that we will celebrate, only to find out that was a gimmick of the Japanese Bamboo Army, who just wanted to collect all the menfolk. And they were confined in all the different branches of the College of Agriculture. Miss Evangelista, our boss, we call her Miss E, and Mrs. Koda, Mrs. E, said we must do something. We have a coffee shop. It is a disguise, because while it's called the coffee shop, hardly can you see coffee. But it is a place where men meet. And I realized later that some are contact men, underground guerrilla. During the zoning, there was a room set aside for all guerrilla suspects, and no less than Bin Wichanko was punished. I had a chance to pick. Some of them were hanged, inverted, given water cure, as they said. They were brutalized, and all the rest were kept in confinement without food and water. Miss E asked the soldiers or the captain in charge of the area if we can feed. Said they had no say. You go to the one in charge. And true enough, Miss E went to the Japanese and she was asked several questions. Where are you from? We come from Manila. We are here only. We don't know those people inside. Perhaps that did it. The Japanese allowed us. After 4 days of no food and water, he said, you can only serve lugaw without anything. And you know, I bite. I am very playful. Miss E told me, get the women, organize themselves and prepare lugaw, and we will serve. My God, when we served the lugaw, we realized that the human persons are even worse than animals when they are hungry. They grab us. And you know, an elderly woman placed an apron to me, got several biscuits and cigarettes in the canteen, and placed it in. They grab. And we had no means to serve them, but people are they had that ingenuity to create. They got leaves as spoons, and they even use their hands. But of course, the lugaw is not very hot, easy to eat. And some of them fell unconscious. They were allowed to be taken to the clinic. And I myself, I carried them, we dragged them. Women dragged them. Usually the women who were with us are teachers. They are also members of women's club, which the Japanese call Fujinkai. I recall that very well. And some pain sickness, so they were able to go to the clinic. I heard some people were able to escape, and the Japanese lost track of them. They don't even have a listing. Mrs. Koda, up to her last time we saw her, she keeps on telling, protect our girls. Kami mga bata pa. And she sees to it that we are proper, even if we are fighting for a cause, we must remain proper girls, well behaved, and must know how to protect ourselves and to be alert all the time. She inculcated in us, to me, love of country, courage. Respect. I think Mommy Pekson was right in saying they were activists during the time, fighting the enemy. But while they're activists, they are properly behaved. They debate masculine wisdom with men, but they speak out without necessarily disrespecting our men. Yun ang natutunan ko dyan sa mga women leaders na yan. Again, they wanted us, at one time, these are my anecdotes with Mrs. Escoda. One time she saw me washing my hands with full glass of water. She called my attention. Mary, close the faucet. Get the soap and wash your hands as soon as you are ready to rinse later, because water, conserve water. We were really having a campaign for water conservation. Do you understand me? Yes, ma'am. And I remember that up to this moment, and I'm spreading that as a gospel of water conservation. Another occasion, she asked me to deliver something, and when I gave it back to her, and she gave me the envelope, I tore the envelope. No, don't tear that. She got a pair of scissors, cut it into small pieces, and arranged it beautifully and said, put it near the telephone. If you have any messages, you can use that. Indeed, I learned that simple lesson of saving what you can save. Now we are doing it. Huh? What she taught us is something we must carry on generation after generation. And I hope our young people will remember that. And then again, she said, you need not be a soldier to serve your country. Even a little girl like you can serve our country. And I believe that. You and I, every one of us, has a role to play in terms of serving our country. That I remember Mrs. E. Josefa Llanes Escoda.